Good morning, everybody. It's Dana with Calfee Cattle. Back in the kitchen this morning. I've got a lot of my chores done already. It's a bright, beautiful day today, although it's a little bit chilly this morning. So I thought for tonight we might have chicken and dumplings. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I prep the chicken for that. I don't have quite enough time today, I think, to boil a whole chicken, which is normally what I would do. So I've got some chicken breast and thighs, and I'm actually going to put my crock pot to use today. And I'll get my camera turned around and just show you how I get this started, and then we'll finish up a little later today. So let's go ahead and get our crock pot turned on. I'm going to just set this for low for about 6 hours. I'll go ahead and spray the inside of the pot. And a lot of times I might use a crock pot liner in here too, but I know since I'm going to do chicken dumplings, I've got a plate of, like I said, chicken thighs and breast here. So I'm going to let that cook down in the crock pot, and I'll shred that. When it cooks down really good, you can shred it really easily with a fork. So that's what my plan for that. So I'm not going to use a liner because I know that when I start shredding that, it's probably going to rip, and I don't care to eat plastic. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this chicken in there and get it started. And just to let you know, I'm not going to prep this chicken a lot. I've used 2 chicken breasts and probably about 4 chicken thighs. You just have to, that's we're a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 children. Our girls eat pretty well, so I want enough because normally when I do chicken and dumplings, I make either one really large pot of those or, maybe 2 smaller pots to not crowd my dumplings so much. But, you'll just have to put as much chicken that'll accommodate your family. Now, we might have chicken left out of this. That's totally fine with me. I'm going to use a can of cream of chicken. Use any brand you want. Some things I don't mind using off brands of any type food for a lot, but some things I really do like an actual branded or brand name. Cream of chicken is one of those. And I'm going to dump that in there and then put a little salt and pepper. Probably just put just a little bit of water in there just for kicks. But dump that in there. Spread it around a pretty good bit. Get it even all on your chicken. Then a little salt and a little pepper. And I'll check in on this during the day, but we'll just let that cook. Like I said, I'll set it on low for about 6 hours. I'll come in a little earlier this afternoon and go ahead and start making my dumplings. And then I'll show you that process as we go along. All right, it's in there. Cream of chicken, salt and pepper, thighs and breast. Put the lid on there. Let's get this party started. All right, so we're about 4 hours in, and I was just checking on the chicken, and so it's already kind of falling apart. So it's looking good. We'll keep letting that cook, and then I'll get it all shredded up and start on dumplings. Hey everybody, we're back. So it's time to start supper tonight for the chicken and dumplings. But before I do that, I'm actually going to make one of our favorite desserts here in our household. It's called no-bake chocolate oatmeal cookies. And ours do have peanut butter in them because we love peanut butter. The girls are actually outside still helping their daddy finish up some evening chores, and they're going to help me do the chicken and dumplings, or make the dumplings for the chicken and dumplings. So while they're out there doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start these cookies and get them to cooling off, so whenever we finish supper, they'll be good and warm and ready to eat. Okay, so I've got my ingredients here. It's going to take some cocoa, obviously, a stick of butter, or peanut butter, vanilla, milk, got my oatmeal and some sugar. So I'll start with putting my stick of butter in the pan and letting it melt. Then we'll add in our sugar and cocoa, and then the peanut butter, and then we'll add in the vanilla and the oats. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so I added in, it was 1 stick of butter. This is just 1 full batch of cookies. So, and it's melted, and I turn my eye back down, the heat down to low. I'm gonna go ahead, and this calls for a 1/2 cup of milk. I'm gonna go ahead and pour that milk in there and let it heat up with the butter. And then I'm gonna get my sugar measured out. It is 2 cups of sugar and 4 tablespoons of cocoa. So let's get that measured out and we'll add that in. Had to go run get some more sugar real quick, but I've added in 1 cup of sugar, so I like 1 more cup for a total of 2. Then we're going to go ahead and add in our cocoa. We'll put just a little bit more in there because that first one I put in wasn't quite to the top. Close this back up. And then we have 4 tablespoons of cocoa. Gonna do that. Y'all drop me some comments and let me know if you've had these. A lot of people I know eat these. They're very easy to make. They're kid friendly. Everybody likes chocolate. Most people like peanut butter. Now we do use the crunchy peanut butter. You can use smooth, or some people don't like peanut butter, or if you don't like it or have some type of allergy to nuts, then you can always skip out on the peanut butter. But we're going to stir that around and let that melt. Then come back and add in our vanilla and our peanut butter and the oats. So let's let that melt just a few minutes. It's been boiling about a minute now, so I'm gonna go ahead and add in my peanut butter. And y'all, I got a full cup of peanut butter. It's a heaping cup. And like I said, this is some things I cook, I just, I do to taste. Like I said, we love peanut butter, so I might add more than the average person. And I don't remember if I told you previously or not, but this is crunchy peanut butter. But you can use crunchy or creamy, whatever you prefer. So I'm going to stir this in here and let this melt in the chocolate that's already in the pan. Before adding the vanilla, you actually need to take it or remove the pan from the heat. You don't ever need to add vanilla or any type of flavoring like that when it's actually going to be, so hot. You don't ever want to boil that, so remove it from the heat. It'll make it have an off flavor, almost like a rancid taste, and we don't want that for cookies. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this up. It's melting really nice. Again, I went ahead and turned my heat off, so I'm not boiling the peanut butter. The mixture was boiling and did for 1 minute, and then, like I said, I turned my heat off, put the peanut butter in, and it's hot enough to melt the peanut butter very easily. So that is done now. So I'm actually going to go ahead and add in my vanilla. Be proud of me, I got my measuring spoon, so I'm going to go ahead and add an actual tablespoon of the vanilla. Full concentration. Add that in. Give it a good stir around, and then I'll go ahead and just mix that up enough to where it's incorporated well. Remember, I had already measured out my oats. This is 2 out of the 3 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and pour those in. Go ahead and measure out 1 more cup on the side. Got another cup there. Go ahead and pour it in. So that was 3 cups of oats. And again, you can add, if it looks too loose, you can always add a few more oats. Just remember, you might want to wait just a second, because these oats will soak that up, and swell up and start to thicken up. So if it looks a little too soupy, you might give it just a minute before you try to add any more oats, because it's really thickening up now. And plus, I always put a lot of peanut butter, obviously, how you seen, so, but it is delicious. So let me I'll turn my phone around so you can see the final product here, and then we'll go ahead, let it sit for just a minute, and we'll scoop it out by spoonfuls on some parchment paper. Well, there she is. It's a finished product. Obviously not on the cookie, on the parchment paper yet in the shape of a cookie, and these are also drop cookies, so you don't have to scoop them out all the same size. And matter of fact, since my kids aren't in here, neither is my husband, I might just have to do a little taste test before I make an actual cookie. Y'all, this stuff is so addictive. Let's get these things dipped out. I got my cookie scoop here, and I will just use it because it is a little easier to get out of there, but you definitely don't have to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and show y'all, just scoop it out. These can be as big or as small as you want them. But there they are. Y'all let me know, drop a comment and let me know how you like these. What's your favorite dessert and your favorite easiest to make dessert? I'm going to go ahead and start on the dumplings. So I don't make exactly like from scratch dumplings. I like the biscuit dumplings. So I've got some grands, and it's the buttermilk style. Those are the best ones. It comes 8, I think, in a pack. Yes, 8 in a pack there. So we got those. Can of cream of chicken. I got my flour to roll the biscuits in before we put them in the boiler. I went ahead and put a little half a stick of butter in here. I'm going to melt this. Go ahead and turn the eye on. Some heat and let that be melting. Then I'm going to add my can of cream of chicken. And while I'm doing that, I've got my girls in the kitchen with me. And I'll turn my camera around and show them. They're going to go ahead and help me cut up the biscuits. We're going to cut those in fourths, dip them in a little bit of flour just so they don't stick to one another, and then put them in the mixture that's on the stove. When that all cooks and the dumplings have been cooking for a few minutes, we'll go ahead and add our shredded chicken. Got the girls in here, and they're going to open up the can of biscuits for me. So this is Emma, and that's Anna. So they're in the kitchen helping me. They're going to go ahead and cut the biscuits for me while I come over here, and my butter should be melted just about. It's working on it. So they're going to go ahead. I think Emma's going to have the task of cutting the biscuit. So Emma, what you need to do is put just a little bit of flour on that cutting board, just so the biscuits won't stick when you cut them. And then you'll cut them in the fourths. Anna's going to dip them in the flour and drop them in when needed. I put in my can of cream of chicken. I'm going to just run over here and get a little, maybe a can or two of water, enough to make a good soup for the dumplings to cook. While the girls are still cutting up biscuits, so it'll take just a minute for this to start boiling. But I like to use a whisk and whisk it up real good. Again, it's just cream of chicken, half a stick of butter, and some water. We'll have to have a few more cans of water. And I'll add my salt and pepper to everything once I get the dumplings in there. Just always be careful when adding salt to dumplings, because the biscuits, that dough will soak it up a lot, and you'll wind up with some really salty dumplings. You can always add more once they're cooked, but you obviously can't take it out. So, girls, how's the biscuits going? Good. Good? Okay. All right, we'll let this start to boil and then we'll add in our dumplings. It's going to take just a few minutes for this to boil. So while we're doing that, y'all can drop me some comments or about how you make your dumplings. You know, how do you make them from scratch? Do you buy them from a store? Do you use biscuits like this? You can also use biscuit mix and milk and things, almost like to make a biscuit, and to actually just drop them by the spoonfuls in here. And you know, drop me a comment about what you like in your dumplings. Some people like potatoes. I know my daddy used to always like potatoes in his dumplings. Some people eat sauerkraut with dumplings. I've heard of that before. I've never tried any of that, but hey, I'm not scared to try something new. We're almost there, everybody. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, dear. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's nice. Sorry, I had to pause to wipe the flour off my face, but what she doesn't realize is that payback is rough. So we're almost at a boil here. I think we're good enough to go ahead and start. So girls, if y'all want to, wait. If you take the dumpling, the biscuit, kind of pat it off, knock off the extra flour, and then just drop it very easily in there. Just do just a few at a time. And the flour's on there so they don't stick together. So while you drop, let it go ahead and, because you want it to stay hot. There you go. And then we'll just go ahead and they'll dump all of these, get kind of close to the broth there so it don't splash. There you go. I'm actually glad I thought of this because today's been one of these days. It's not like it's not been that cold outside, but man, I can't get warm today, which is actually pretty warm standing around this stove. But these are going to be so good. So we'll finish this up, and then I'll turn my phone around, the camera around, and let y'all see in the boiler. So as they drop them in, you just kind of push them down a little bit. You don't really want to stir them around a whole lot, but just kind of push them down in the liquid until they start to swell up. And then it'll take them about maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes, and they should be good to go. All right, let's open them up and see how they look so far. Looks good to me. We'll take our whisk and give them a little stir around a little bit. It doesn't take them too long to get done. And a lot of times I'll just test one, obviously, to make sure, because they'll, you know, the biscuits obviously swell up. And then let it cook for just a few more minutes, and then I'll go ahead and add the chicken. So I'm going to pop the lid back on for a few minutes, keep that moisture in there. Then we'll take that off and add the chicken. Went ahead and added a little salt and pepper to the dumplings, and I did a little taste test, and they're just about done. So I'm going to go ahead, and I've got my chicken over here, and I shredded it earlier. So this was just the chicken breast and thighs. So I shredded it up, and we'll just go ahead and scoop some of this out. Go ahead and put it in the dumplings, because you want it to get all this goodness in there. Like I said, I may have way too much chicken there, but let's stir that up a little bit and see. I went ahead and added another 2 spoonfuls of chicken. I think that's plenty. I still got a little bit in the crock pot left, but and it thickened up the broth in the chicken and dumplings also. Go ahead and cut that off, and we'll go ahead and call in the troops and get the bowls out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and remember, hit that like button, subscribe, shoot me some comments. Let me know how you like everything. Y'all have a great weekend. Bye.